How everybody doing? My name is Ed and welcome back to the channel. So today, trying something a little different. I'm basically making a new little segment. It's basically the triple C. And I'm looking at that as calling Chillin, Chattin, and Creatin. So basically what I'm gonna do is, this might not do too good on the views wise. I'm not even worrying about that. But what I wanna do is I'm just gonna show y'all something I'm working on. And it's not complete. I'm still working on it, just cranking through. And I won't be completing it on this video with y'all. This is just some of the processes that I'm doing when I'm creating. And I'm gonna be chatting to y'all. Basically, I'm gonna be talking. I got a couple of things that I wanna talk about. And we're just gonna do that. So, let y'all see some of the things. One of these things I'm working on right now. And basically all this is just, you're going to hear my voice. I'm going to be talking. You're going to see me too right here. I'm in the studio right now, in my office/studio, just making things happen. So it could be some kind of interference. I don't know, but this is basically what I'm working on right now. And I'm in Unreal Engine 5. And this right here is basically an idea that I wrote this. This is more of a piece, like a puzzle, not a puzzle. I mean, this is a poem. So I wrote this poem. I'm just going in through my mind of creating, right? And doing that, some of the things that I wrote down, I basically give myself basically drills sometimes. So if y'all don't know, when it comes to me creating, I always have so many different ideas, and I want to basically put that to paper and try to make something happen of it. So some of them could just be a little scene. Some of them could be where you really break down and get into like a story, like how the Joyce thing is. And a majority of them, they're just thoughts, the ideas, and then I basically take them in. I see if I can create them. And if you'll notice, I haven't been posting up lately because I've been working on a lot of stuff. I've been basically working on my feature, which is an animated feature. I've been basically writing a lot of stuff with that. And when it comes to the whole YouTube social media world, it's been that whole, that's that love-hate relationship with that stuff. You look at it, you're like, hey man, I want to spend this time on working on a project that I'm going to basically spend a week or two on, and then, you see if it's going to do anything, and then you can do a behind the scenes, and a behind the scenes will get like a lot of views, and then the other one will probably get, a little views. And you as a creator, you just really want to create and have people see your stuff. You want to help people out, because a lot of us are going through the same issues of trying to figure things out, right? We all trying to make some things happen. We're all trying to, create. If we're in that, in that space, you want to create, you want to show the world, or as many people as eyeballs you can be able to have on your project and your work. And at the same time too, we look at each other as like, hey, you know how to do something that I don't know how to do, and you could possibly help me create that piece as well. So that's some of the stuff that, that I look at. And at this particular time when I wrote this, I wanted to write basically a piece, and I said it's like a poem, but it's not like a poem where it's just going to rhyme. It's just a boy in the dark, right? So, and some of the things that you face when it comes to the challenges, and that could be of creating or everyday life. And I wanted to have this story, which is it's probably like a 4-minute piece, and this is what I'm working on. And so to do that, what I did was I went through and created, I wrote down first. I basically did an hour drill. I wanted to write for an hour. Let's see what I come up with, right? I usually do that when the wife and kids are asleep. I'll be up and I'll spend a couple hours of just trying to create, make some things happen. All right. So this is one of the things that I'm working on. I'm probably be all over the place. I'm just shooting this straight raw. Y'all going to get how it's going to look. So if I'm making mistakes, whatnot, this is what it is, man. We out here trying to do it, right? We trying to create. And yeah. Also what I did was I wrote down a couple of things too, because I had a lot of questions. I usually get a lot of questions and different things when it comes to like some of the subscribers, about different things, how I'm approaching. Some things could be off topic creating, some things could just be about me. And while I'm creating and doing these practices, I'm going to be going over some of that as well. But right now we can see this boy, right? So basically, if we look at here, I got this character that's a cold pole. We don't have to start there. So you can see some of the stuff I got.
Why is that a good thing?
Right.
But I'm lost, and I need to make my way to the light, because the light is where I want to be.
All right. So this is the character I'm using for pretty much for the boy of this story, right? And I created him using the character creator 4, and I pretty much have those packs, and I basically got that creator. I did some morphing in a character creator. I created this character. You know, man, I basically go to my customs. You can see the characters, things that I've created. You know, man, let's just go through the character. These are some of the characters that I've created, right? And I got this man. All right, cool. Got the boy, and these are a lot of different characters. We got the monster in the dark, right? So these are some of the things that I've created, and I basically save them as my characters. And then what good is you got the CC3 plus characters, and you can start using, like when I go to my plugins, like I have my phone, I basically, what I did was on this, I did a different step of how I'm doing things. Now, just for an example, what I did on this one is I have my character and I recorded, back there, I got another microphone back there, but I basically stood up, I did a recording of the character. Basically, I just read out the poem per se, which could be a script as well, but it's just kind of like a monologue, but you have a narrator, you have this monster, you have this boy. And I just read the entire thing, right? So I took those into Adobe Premiere and I basically chopped it up. And I chopped it up into sections so I know that this is the boy's lines. And I brought that stuff over into iClone. And in iClone, I took those, that voice, and I basically went to, if you go to create script, and we go to Aculips, right? So you have Aculips here, and then I imported the audio tracks of each one. So I did each one at a time, and then I basically cleaned it up with text and generated that, applied those things. I cancel this now, and basically, so once I had that there, I could go through and adjust those audio levels, and this was just for the lips, just to get the talking right of what the character is saying. And then from there, what I did was, I basically went over to the plugins and I used my Motion Live, and it's probably gonna pop up on my other screen. I basically, give me a second. So I did this, put in my connection for my iPhone, the iPhone app, because I don't need none of this now. But I basically went through my iPhone, the live face link, and basically I went through there through my live link, live face, and I did a recording of my face going over with the lines already embedded. Now, how I did that was so I wouldn't make sure I go over anything. Let me see, I'm actually show y'all again. I'm not gonna go through it unless y'all want to see that later on, kind of thing. We could definitely look at that. But for the most part, just what I pretty much looked into doing. So already had the lip movement from the character. So what I did was, if you can go through and click, like how I clicked that right there. So now when I use the live face, I'm not going to be getting anything as far as movement goes, like from my lips. So I I don't even know the word, disabled it. I disabled it. So we don't use that. And I can just go through and use the live face app and on my iPhone, and I just went through and I did all facial expressions, eye movements, things like that. And I left that disabled because I already had basically the voice dialogue and lip movement of that. So I pieced that up, and after doing that, we close this now. After doing that, you start coming with that, which I got blank and good thing. So that's what I did for that, pretty much. But now we in here. But it's just one of the sequences. I added some music, and basically I added some music in here. What I use for my music is I'm going through Artlist, I basically pay that yearly thing there, and pretty much so I can be able to put music on from, I think it's like $150 or whatnot, $120. Don't know the exacts, but basically I pay for Artlist, and I can basically download all the music, sound effects, and everything that I want. It's unlimited, and it's a year license, and you can basically attach that to your YouTube channel or Instagram. If you got TikTok, you basically put in your, like mine, GT short stories. I'll put that in, and then I can be able to go through and let that work. And now my music, I can still monetize things, and it won't be copywritten and strict down. So that's what I do. So this is definitely not my normal workflow. You know what I mean? I mentioned a couple of videos ago where I showed my workflow. This one, I'm just having fun. So it's not meant to be like some kind of pivotal piece. Like, this is just me having basically a writing session where I'm just told myself I'm gonna write for an hour. Whatever I write, I'm going to try to make that happen. And I was just writing some poetry. And at that time, I was definitely at, like, you know what I mean? I was in a little fest where you don't want to create something that you don't care for creating. And I'm pretty sure everybody gets some of those things, but I'll go into that in a little bit. But like I said, what I'm doing right here is this is after I've already imported, you know what I mean? I got the animations and all of those things. So I basically put my animations to the character. I did that where I baked those into the facial expressions and the dialogue. So now I could import and have a character with all of that movement. So it's like if I go through my characters in here, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to like really, like I said, I'm just talking with y'all, man. We're just talking, like we got me right here, but we're talking. Let's just pull that over. So you can see this is the FBX file that I baked into the iClone, and then I exported that out, and I showed y'all those steps and those processes, how to do that. You could definitely check out some of those older videos if you need to see how to do that. But right now, like I said, all I'm doing is I'm creating. So I wanted this scene to be dark, right? And I have something, so just let y'all hear a little bit. I basically added some music in. This is not going to be the final music. It might be something that I work with, but I imported was the dialogue. So if I go to the boy, I got an audio, I got each of those audio tracks. Now, the reasons why I'm doing this is because I'm exporting an FBX file out of iClone, and that iClone file has the baked in animations, right? So you got the face, you got the talking, you got that, but you don't actually have the audio file. So then what I did was I brought those individual audio files that I used, that I did, you know what I mean, originally, and I brought those into I basically imported those into Unreal Engine, and then on my sequence timeline, what I can do is I can just play it back. So this is with some of the music as well, and just listen. Hey, wondering what might the lights dim. Why is that a good thing? The boy shuts the door, and the tears start to pour down his face. Because the monsters are in the dark. All right, so you probably hear two kind of like, it was a double voice, and that's because I have my original track on top here. This audio is the original track. This is the full recording that I did. Like I said, I did just reading the script or the poem, and I just read that through. And then I basically came down here, and I have like this section is the audio boy, and I broke it down, and I have that basically synced up when it comes to the boys and his animations, right? So I got the animations that were created for that. And then I also have another character in here. I did the same for him as well. And what that does for me, at least for this project, I would say, like I normally wouldn't put like a score already underneath, but I'm just having fun and playing around. But one thing is I put in here as well is I set it up like this way, because when you have something in long form where you know that later on I can duplicate the sequence, right? So if I put everything down here and I have all the animations lined up, it's not like certain shots. You know, that's the great thing about the Unreal Engine, is that you could definitely go in there and get like different angles, right? So to be able to keep up with the sequence, if I wanted to, I could take portions of it out. But I know that the conversation that these two characters are going to have, even though they're both me, I can be able to already have that lined up, see where it works, and then I can be able to just duplicate a sequence, already have everything lined up, and then I can just basically go through and move the cine camera and get different angles. So it just helps with the workflow. Or if you want to, you can have a master. This is your wide shot, and they just go through the entire thing. Now, as far as, like I said, animations, I'm not fully there yet, and I'm trying to make things dark in this shot. So like if you look at this, let me see, I might get on a camera that I'm actually using. So this is like the camera I'm using, right?
Why is that a good thing? The boy shouts dark as the tears start to pour down his face, because the monsters are in the dark. That's the distorted voice. You're not scared of my voice, all of you. The boy shakes his head and flying no. Good.
So here, I'm trying to look at some of this lighting. I got this character right now, the monster, in a sense. I want to make this dark because it's supposed to be a boy in the dark. Now, some of that I'm gonna pretty much do in post later. So it means when I get done with exporting these things out, I'm probably going to bring them into, I am going to be bringing them to Adobe Premiere. I could do a lot of the color correction. I can add certain things in there. But here, let me try to save, I get it. But in here, I can really just make sure that I can get my pacing, timing. I can be able to make sure lighting is down as well. Like right now, like I can see that in the back, and you know what I mean? Maybe I don't want that. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't want that to look that way. You know what I mean? Or maybe I do. You know what I mean? But ultimately, when I'm making this happen, if I want this character to just be in the dark, I can start to add in certain rec lights or spotlights and just kind of do my adjustments. But for this sequence right here, like for instance, let me go to my sequences. This is Bowie Dark 4. I'm just label how you want to, right? So I got it this way, and then all I can do is I can duplicate it, and then I can change my whole camera angle. I can get any kind of movements and things like that right there. But what I'm doing here, and I like to do these things where I set my sequencer up. I think I know I'm doing 24 frames, and if I wanted to, if I needed to see some different shots, I can just take it off of that. I can start doing my adjustments. And just to let you know, this world, I bought this actually environment here, and I got something else out there too, out the window. I wanted to have people like in the stands, so I created these people in the stands. No textures. It'll have more sense of meaning when it comes onto it, but I got that happening as well out there. You know what I mean? When I have the final done, it will definitely look a whole lot better, but it's all for what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? But you can see there's some of the stuff that I got set up, and I think that as far as my lighting goes, I want to get a little bit, change some of this stuff up. Now some of this lighting on this boy's face right here, I want that a little dimmer. But like I said, I can do a lot of these things up in post. I think that's a recollection. That this, yeah, I think it's done. That, let's take that to a 9. Or what if you got that? Take it to about 9. And also, what I did was some of the one thing, like I said, this is basically the Chillin, Chattin, and Creatin, right? One thing is I do is when it comes to the camera that I'm using, right? So cine camera actor, I can't even speak right now, but I have it. I go through some of the post-processing and the lenses and exposures. I make sure I put my stuff to manual and I start to do those because I don't like to do the auto exposure. If y'all using that, you will definitely see when you start moving into certain locations, it does the auto adjusting for you of exposure. So if you basically set those, you can really start to dial things in as you want. And basically what I'm gonna start doing now is I'm gonna get into some of, like I said, I got some of these things written down, some questions that some of the subscribers normally ask me, and I usually get these on other videos, and like I said, I don't know how I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm just making it work, right? But what I want to do is I'm going to also show how, answer some questions that I get. So if y'all definitely have some like future questions or whatnot, just any type of things, you can start leaving those comments on any videos. And when I get them, I can put them in here when I do some of these triple fees, right? So some of the one thing that I did give, I had a question on, let me see. It was a question. I ain't gonna start giving people's names out, but I had a question where somebody was asking about the camera. Like, it looks like you got the grain in there. It looks like a certain type, and you kind of have it more filmic than what normally people see. And basically, that's what I do. Is it's me going through the camera, right? So not this section, but going through the cine camera. You're going through the post-processing section, and here. And there's so many things, like when it comes to film, you could start adding things, and kind of like I use like the film grain. See, I have it all on right there, and I just do adjustments to make sure that what I don't like a smooth shot. Like, I don't want the camera to look too digital, even though I know that when we look at doing these shots and setting things up, we want to make sure that we're having like the shots come across as most cinematic as possible, if that makes any sense. Like, you're trying to film, and one thing is like, I'm also a DP. Now, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm a DP where I definitely do a lot of shoots where I'm operating camera. You see what I'm doing here, right? I got that Ursa Mini G2 in the back. I have the red camera, you know what I mean? So I definitely I haven't used a lot of the Arri Alexa. I used it a couple of shoots that, I was hired on, but other than that, I never like owned an Arri Alexa. But when it comes to it, you got a certain, people call it the filmic look. And usually you have that when you have like vintage lenses, or you start to use certain lenses, the way the lighting is set up, the way the set design. There's so many things that come into play when it comes to trying to set that mood or that tone of the video. I have the video of the movie, of the short film, of the documentary. And when we start looking into Unreal Engine, you want to try to capture some of those things, you know what I mean? And I would say they're basically, you could say, capture certain flaws to make that feel more cinematic, or to make it have this grainy look. Because, you know what I mean? I know everybody's like, okay, add some film grain, or how do you do this, or how do I add so-and-so bokeh, and all of those things. So there's a lot of adjustments that you can do in Unreal Engine to try to get your lens to come close to it. And then you can take certain things into your editing suite, such as DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut. When I use Adobe Premiere, I use DaVinci Resolve as well for color grading. But like I said, these are certain things that you can do. But I basically go through like some film grain. You might want to mess with some bloom, you know what I mean? And you can start changing things, like if I put convolution on there, you will start to see a certain image. And they might be small, but those things, if you adjust and you keep practicing on, you could definitely start seeing something good turn around of it. So yeah, that's definitely one thing I would say is, don't be afraid to get into that cine camera actor and make your adjustments, you know what I mean? Because that's how you learn, right? Go over there and make some mistakes, fall on your face, and see what happens. You know what I mean? At the same time, you might come up with something awesome. I'm not saying that I'm doing anything awesome. I'm just creating, right? So, but like this right here, this is one of the shots, and I wanted to make, so I have this character here, right? So this monster, and he's basically, what's this character? Let me back up. It's this dude. So this is another character I created in Character Creator 4. And I didn't bring him in with no clothes on. I really focused on his head, because I knew for the most part, when I brought this character into Unreal Engine, I was going to lose everything else. You see what I got here? All it is down here, this is his textures and body. It's invisible, right? So you can see here, it's just a head. That's all I wanted. I just wanted his head. Now, there's other ways that I know I could go through and try to clean up things, but ultimately it did its job. I mean, what I also did was I took some of his textures, right? And I wanted to make it like darker. And what I mean by that is, I got After Effects. So if I go into the monster here and we look at some of his textures, materials, probably some of that, see where I got those things laid out. Basically, right here, his head. So I basically took his textures, and there's different ways you can do that. So for instance, if you want to see his head, we got his head right here. We double click that. So I know this stuff is crazy. We got his head right here. So you see how I got his head. So what I do is you locate that, right? And like that head, but then you have his original, and I will grab that head, and I'm going through like the maps, the masks. I'm going through the normals. I'm grabbing all those, and then you basically export them out. Now to do that, either you just right click, go to your asset actions, and then you can go through and export. Right. So I export those out. So I took those and I brought them into After Effects, and I just kind of created a mask. What I was trying to do was, you see on his face, you have this, like everything else is dark. See how it's dark, but you have, if you look around him, it's almost like you have this kind of a silhouette, but it's like it's dark. I wanted him to blend into the darkness. And I basically went there in Adobe After Effects, and I just basically pretty much created this. You know what I mean? I just went through, added a mask, feather it out, and then I just exported those out. And then through here on his textures, you saw when I was looking at his head, I could go through and I can drag and drop the stuff that I added. So I basically imported those textures back and then basically drag those in there, and you'll see the change. And that's what you get there. So just so you can do all kinds of things when it comes to, if you just wanted to be creative with it. But like I said, just a little bit. Actually, I want to work on some of this lighting a little bit. I got some spotlights. Let me go. And I don't know how I'm feeling about it. I don't like how I can see this. Let's see if we can shift that over. Just let me take a look. I know it's just sitting up there inside of focus. Let's just move it over a little bit. Gotta see it too much. Now let's take a look. Yeah, I'd rather have it over there, so he's just blending really in. So when he says what he has to say, do you want one light because you want one clean? Stop. That's really good. Oh, actually, let me mute this real quick. I think so. That's good. You can. Okay. So that's a little bit. I'm gonna get into a couple of y'all other some of the questions. Like I said, we're just chilling, right? We're just chilling and creating. But this is what I do. When it comes to some of the things, and I'm kind of talking the things through. The only difference is I wouldn't be talking, and I'll just be pretty much focusing on a lot of lighting. You want to make sure you adjust your scene, kind of do the things that you want to do to try to get this thing packaged up. Like I said, today is not going to be a video where I am just like, this is the final product. This is just some of the process. This is just that triple C. We just chilling, chatting, and creating, right? So, I guess somebody asked me, actually I had multiple people ask me about this, and I just wanted to address it. It's not that crazy, but the Vive Mars, basically the Vive Mars Camtrack, you can see I have it on, see that right there. I got it on my Ursa Mini. They're basically asking, how do I like it? What's my thoughts on it? And honestly, I'm like, that thing is awesome. It costs $5,000. I know some people could say, oh, that's too much money. But when you're dealing with the virtual productions and virtual sets, if you try to go look into like the Moses or like the OmniTrack things, those things start to be pricey. $30,000, $60,000, $100,000. You have to start needing all these things. The Vive Mars to me is somebody that's knocking on the doors of like all of the high-end products, but at an independent kind of price at $5,000. And some of you probably already have some of the Vive products. Like it comes with, the Vive Mars comes with the 2 base stations, and I have 4. So I have 2 on top here and I have 2 in the back, because I've already had, like, I think it was a Cosmo, the Vive Cosmo, where you can have the virtual head, the HMC or whatever, but I had that already, and that comes with 2 base stations. So I just added those, and now I have 4, which I can get more of an expansion on when it comes to the tracking. And it's accurate. It's an easy setup. It's easy to operate. And, you know what I mean? I could definitely say, like, I've used Demosis, and it was definitely hard for me to really try to, like, dial it in and learn how to use it. But once it was dialed in, it was definitely amazing. So I'll say the tracking on that was like, it was pretty fucking good, but it was hard to figure it out because I'm not like some like Unreal Engine tech where I can just say, hey, this is how you do this and this is how it goes. I do not know all of that. I was just basically going in and do what I do. And with the Vive Mars, basically set it up. You have that thing going. You can go in there and kind of get things active and moving. So I definitely like the Vive Mars, and it's one of those things that I'm actually working on something else. Y'all probably saw a little clip where it's me and I have the whole black jacket on and kind of the machete in hand. I'm working on that too. It's another project I'm working on where I can just go in, create. I'm doing some blending with the with Unreal Engine. I'm using the Vive Mars. I have my wife basically using. See, I have this jib right behind me. So I'm gonna put that like that bad boy. You know what I mean? I have that jib behind me. So I have my wife basically using that. We're definitely getting some things going there, but it's just fun. You know what I mean? So I got that creating. That's gonna take some time, and I got to do some reshoots. That's why I dropped that video last time. But I shaved my face because I didn't nick it. I kind of took a little bit too much off of my mustache. So I was like, hey, just take it down and keep it moving. You know what I mean? We just gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. But yeah, so the Vive Mars, awesome thing. And I'm definitely looking at that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to look at different things that I can post for y'all as well, because when it comes to it, it's like you can do a lot of tutorials. You can do a lot of short films, kind of short scenes. They take time to do those, so then it can't be like you can hit these certain marks, so those take time. But that's why I thought about doing something like this. Like I said, they're going to be a little bit longer, but this is just for you can have if you wanted to listen to it. You can see some of the stuff I'm doing, but I'm pretty much just chilling and chatting and talking to y'all. So you can see some of the projects that I'm working on and some of my thought process behind it. You know what I mean? So like I said, I normally don't put the audio in it, but for this one, I was just like, I want to hear this. Let me see how it sounds. You know what I mean? And then I can do my adjustments. When I take everything in Adobe Premiere, I'm going to be putting in these separate tracks, as well as the audio that I have for these characters. It's just me talking right now, but I'm going to do a lot of adjustments to make the boy sound more like a boy. The monster going to sound like more like a monster. The narrator is probably just going to be me. But, I have the, I use for my text-to-speech is I'm having a brain fart right now. I talked about that as well. And it's basically AI stuff, and you can go through and create voiceovers if you wanted to that way. You know what I mean? I think I pay like $5 a month for that. So that's a good thing there. Let me get this down. We've been talking for a minute. I'm gonna get ready to be cutting this thing off, and I'm getting this thing uploaded so y'all can take a look at it if you get a chance. But yeah, this was I always get this one, but it's more like, it's not like a real question to make a full video on, so I can throw it out there. People ask, what's my workout regimen? You know what I mean? They say, you got a little bit of muscles on them, I guess. Yeah, I understand. I've been working out my entire life. So when it comes to it, I was in the Marines as well, so you get discipline and things there. But my pops, he basically, and my mom, we grew up, they had us working out, right? So I was a wrestler, a gymnast, we was doing all kinds of stuff. So, but I was always into working out. And even though I'm 41 right now, a couple of kids, my wife, we still working out. I'm still working out. So I have my own, basically home gym. You know what I mean? So it's not like a home gym where you got a couple of weights. Like I got it fully set up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make sure that I can keep myself up so I can be healthy, play with my kids, and be able to run up and down. But basically my workout regimen, in a sense of what I do, is I kind of work out 4 to 5 times a week. You mean on Saturdays, I go do a run. That run can be from 4 miles to 10 miles. It ain't no quick times. I'm not saying that. I'm running like 7:30 miles to 10-minute miles. I'm not like training for no kind of marathon. Well, that could be, but I'm not really training for something. It's just for health. I'll go in and I'm on the weights. You know what I mean? I'm doing push-ups. I do push-ups every day. So, you know what I mean? I'm averaging about 300 to 500 push-ups a day. That's just what I do. You know, sometimes it can be shorter. I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't hit that mark. You know what I mean? So it's life. You got to be able to enjoy things and as well as still live. You know what I mean? And you want to live your best. You want your joints to be good and healthy. And you know what I mean? I don't say I eat as the cleanest, but I'm not a junkie eater. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have a cookie every now and then if I want one. But at the same time, I'm eating vegetables. I'm drinking water. You can see I got this stuff right here. I'm always drinking water. So, you know what I mean? I'm making those things happen and just really, you know what I mean, making sure all of this stuff comes together. So hold up. I need to add, I want to actually move one of these in here. And one of the things I did was I'm going to be adding certain elements that's just going to be kind of floating by. Like if I get out of here, like you can see like this right here, I want to make sure this element, which is like a little toy car or whatever, it might just float by. And you know what I mean? And I can add that to my sequencer. So you can see like we got it there. That bad boy might just float by. I mean, I'm gonna add in here, I can just drag and drop it in there. So I got that in the sequencer, and now I can actually start to set keyframes up for this. And we can do our little adjustments there. Like I said, I want to pull this off to the side because I don't want to do that just yet. But I want to have that availability. So let me have that. And I wrap. I'm going to go through one more question, and then I'm probably going to wrap this thing up because I know we talking for a long time. But for the most part, I had another question. Someone asked, because of everybody, if you know, I use the motion capture suit, the Xsens. They had a price increase, right? So it went from, it was basically, and this is for the Motion Cloud. For the Motion Cloud, it was something like $260 or $250 a month. And then after taxes, you paying about $320. I think like, I forgot what it was, but it's like $323 that you'll end up paying a month. And it jumped to $549. So what I can say is about the Xsens is like, damn, as an independent user, you're like, you got to try to figure out when the next time you can be able to scrape that money together and utilize it. But ultimately, what you see out there is they're like the top of the line as far as you getting into the motion capture game. So, you know what I mean? It's a price that we don't like, because $600 a month or $550 a month is something that's like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. But at the same time, you can go to all of these other kind of, you know what I mean, motion capture solutions, and it's going to be hard to find something that can give you that bang for the buck. You know what I mean? But at the same time, still, I'm not saying it's like, oh, I'm just made of money or anything, because I paid for this stuff myself. And that's definitely one of those ones that I'll be paying for it again. But it's going to be one I got like 3 or 4 projects lined up, or if I have a gig that I know I can be able to make some of that money, and then I can go in and I'm going to create, get all the animations I need and kind of go from there. But definitely it's a disappointing kind of thing for us kind of filmmakers that want to create in the virtual world. But ultimately, you know what I mean, you understand. You know what I mean? You just hope that they don't bump that up more, because you can start boxing people out. You know what I mean? I've already had subscribers reach out to me asking if I wanted to buy their Xsens, their the suit. And I was like, I'm a one-man band, so I don't need it like that. But you know what I mean, hopefully they're not boxing themselves in to take a giant L. You know what I mean? Hope for the best. You know what I mean? And we'll see. You know what I mean? But like I said, as far as the quality goes, is the 550, is that high? Yes, it is. But is the quality of animation you get out of that, is it still worth it? I think so. I definitely agree that it's worth it. So, you know what I mean? It could be a little bit more if they wanted to, because they have the quality there. But as us kind of independent, that's definitely one of those things where we're like, oh man, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? I definitely feel it. That's why you haven't seen too much right now when it comes to the motion capture of me, because my stuff is expired. So I gotta, next one I'm gonna have to pay that $549. And to do that, I got to make sure that I have a lot of things lined up that I'm going to be able to utilize that, like some gigs where I know I can be able to make that money back. And then I can be able to bundle that up with different projects, different shorts that I'm doing for YouTube. So, I mean, that's definitely on that kind of little topic there. But like I said, hold up. I did a couple of, when it comes to these sequences, you can see, but that's my thoughts on that thing. What content at on my sequencer. All right, so I did like this. What's this one looking like? I don't know. That's that one. But ultimately, we die. Okay, we can see that car back in there. Yeah. Okay, how I got that? Let's take a look. We lost in the dark, trying to like bunch. Since we got some stuff happening. I want to mess around with some down to make sure that thing kind of sparks a little bit. Let's stay on this one. But I'm not going to go over too much. That was pretty much what I got. So for the most part, y'all, this is a little bit just chilling, chatting, and creating. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. I'm going to finish working on that. If y'all like more of these, let me know. I'm going to be doing a few more, but not right now. Stay out there, keep creating, and I'll talk to you later.